Uh, Hi, look, my first guest really doesn't need an introduction. I call her my sister, and in many ways, she is. I feel for her. We've gone through similar things in life, but boy, does she know Donald Trump better than anybody. Mary Trump, thanks for being here. I gotta ask you, man. Here we are. Here we are.
Here we are.
and I first, how serious is Donald's threat to free speech, and do you think he cares?
Okay. I think at this point it is a waste of our time to pretend that there is any redemption here, that there are any redeeming characteristics. This is a man who has had very serious psychiatric disorders that have gone untreated for decades. He's only getting worse. I've said this many times. There's no worst. Things will only continue to get worse. He is, I refer to him as a black hole of need. And because there is nothing that can fill that need, he tries to go after other things. And he has been unimpeded in that effort. It's money, it's power, it's revenge, it's cruelty. We're seeing all of this play out right now. He will do anything in his power, and thanks in part to the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court, thanks to the fascist Republican Party, thanks to over 74 million Americans who decided that this was a good idea. There is no reining him in anymore. This
How
Trump
does it end?
well, and just the second question, really quickly. First,
Oh yeah.
he's never read the Constitution. He doesn't care about it. It is, I mean, if he
Well,
understood
true.
how to make a fire, which he doesn't, he would use it as kindling. But the Republican Party has been doing that for a long time. So how does it end? And that is a very good question. I mean, I don't have an answer, unfortunately. The problem is several fold, but I'll just deal with a couple of the folds. One is that I had been hoping for a long time that the pressure would get to him, that he would suffer such severe narcissistic injuries that he would sort of implode. But he is so protected now. He's surrounded by so many sycophants. Like, we know that a bunch of bad polls came out the other day. I would be shocked if he'd seen them. We saw the Supreme Court hand down, essentially, it's a little more complicated than this, but essentially a 9-0 decision against
Against.
Donald and the executive branch. In the Oval Office, Donald said to Stephen Miller, "Hey, we won that 9-0, right?" And Stephen Miller said, "Yes, we did. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0 in our favor." Nobody is telling this deeply damaged, destroyed human being the truth about anything that would bring him down. So he's buffered. His very, very fragile ego is being protected at all costs by people who need him, who are using him. So it's not going to end that way, unfortunately, because that would have been the simplest thing. The only other thing I'm hoping for, and this is a horrible thing, and as an American who actually deeply cares about this country, it is a horrible thing to hope for, that they continue to overreach so badly. They continue to scare the American people so badly and make our lives so much worse that there will finally come a moment of reckoning where people just say enough and no more and they shut it all down. That is the only way I see out of this.
My question to you for we have young reporters with us tonight, and people want to know how the press works. What do you recommend to young reporters? What do you recommend to the future? What do you recommend to those of us who are still in the business? How do you conduct yourself in this administration?
Well, one thing you taught me recently is answer the right question. Your show is just ask the question, just ask the right question. Frame your question in a way that you're going to get an answer that is the truth or that is obviously a lie. Do not give these people any room to prevaricate, because if you give them an inch, they will take the universe seriously. So that is one thing you taught me. The other
Well, thank
thing
you.
I think we've all learned from experience is stop pretending that both sides have the same legitimate things to say. The journalists should be neutral as to the facts, and they should be biased in favor of democracy. A free press cannot survive without a strong democracy. Our democracy, I mean, I don't even know if we have one anymore, but to the extent we do, it is on the brink, and it is going to require journalists with courage to make sure that they hold the powerful to account. And you cannot do that if you start from a false premise that both sides are somehow equal. That way lies madness, and that way lies fascism.
And on that, Mary, that was beautiful. I appreciate you being here and taking the time to be with us. You know I love you. And anything, anytime for you.
All right. I love you too, my brother.
All righty. Take care, and we'll be right back.